10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Hello and welcome to Little Blessings Online. This is your baby and toddler group, wherever you want it, in the comfort of your own home. So I hope you've got a mug of tea or coffee. I've got my cup of tea in my stripedy mug. I'll just have a nice sip. Very nice, just the right temperature. I wonder what you're drinking. Let us know. Have you got milk or tea or squash or whatever you're drinking? Let us know. And I'm not here on my own, drinking on my own actually. Andy is here helping make all this happen. So there he is, happy with his mug of... What have you got today, Andy?
I've got milk.
Milk. So we've got our drinks, so get comfortable with your favourite drink. Because coming up today, we have, of course, story time. And today we have a friendship story. Two guys, one called Jonathan and one called David. I think you'll find we'll learn a lot about friendship from that story. We've got song time, so get ready for some actions. And we've got art time. So sort of coming in line with our story, we've made some friendship bracelets. There's a really simple one that we can do to help us to remind us to be a friend. Mine says actually be a friend. And if you want to make a more complicated bracelet, friendship bracelet, then there'll be a video at the end to show you how to make this one I have on my arm. So that's all coming up for you. And we're going to obviously show a story about friendship, and I wondered what stories you've got, because there must be absolutely loads out there. So it'd be lovely to hear what sort of friendship stories you've got in the books. I've got this one here. It's called My Best Friend Bob, and it's a great story that I've read to our children. I'll just tell you what it says on the back. Brian and Bob are best friends. They do everything together, such as eating peanuts and playing I Spy, the usual things guinea pigs like to do. But one day, Bob is suddenly taken away, and then it asks the question, will the two friends, the best friends, get back together again? So that's a really great story. You'll be pleased to know they do get back together again. But let me know what sort of stories you've got about friendships, because it's really good to learn about that. So I'd love that if you would share those. When I was thinking about friendships, it reminded me of magnets. I don't know if can you see those? You know how magnets, if you get it right way round, they stick to each other. But if it's the wrong way, I can't get it to stick. It's really hard. They're pushing each other away. But you get it the right way around, they stick. It's really, like I can hold it like that and it won't fall off. And I wondered, how much will it stick if I put something in the way? So I thought I'll try one post-it and see if it'll still stick. So let's see if that still sticks. That's still sticking there, isn't it? That's sticking on one post-it. So these are quite strong magnets, a bit like a friendship. If you're strong enough, you can get through anything, get through problems. And it is quite difficult with lockdown, isn't it, staying in touch with friends. Let me try a few more post-its. I'll go for 10. And see if that still works. So I've got the magnet underneath and the magnet on top. Oh, it's still sticking. Look, still sticking. Let's try a few more. See if it still sticks. I've got 50 now. 50 altogether, my post-its. So I'll put the one magnet underneath. Ooh, see if it works. See if it works. It still seems to be sticking. Ooh, it's still sticking. Yeah, look. Still holding. Still holding. So I know I've tried this already. And it actually is about 95 post-its before it doesn't stick. So there's my 95 post-its. I'll put that underneath. Oh, I'll put this one on top and see. And it's still holding slightly, but it's going to fall off eventually like that. It's not very strong. It wouldn't take many more post-its for it to lose grip. So I suppose it's a bit like friendship, these magnets. You know, we stick together through thick and thin, and that's what a friendship's like. I love that analogy. So with that then, it's time for story time. So in this story, we've got, as I said before, two guys called Jonathan and David. And we really find that they're very different from each other, but they're best buddies. David was a man who grew up in a small, quiet town called Bethlehem.
P. John grew up in a palace where the P stood for Prince.
David had 8 brothers, and they were all older and taller than he was.
P. John was the oldest boy in his family, and he thought he was pretty great.
David spent his days in the fields and hills and near his home, looking after his sheep. He even had a special hat that said "World's Greatest Shepherd," which he'd been given as a special prize for protecting his sheep against lions and tigers and bears.
P. John was a prince. He spent his days growing up in a palace where he was being trained up to be a fantastic warrior. He enjoyed being waited on with the bestest of foods. Everybody was ever so nice to P. John. He even had a special pointy silver sword and a shield, and he thought he was pretty awesome.
David one day went to take his older brothers some food because they were quite happy for their littlest baby brother to do that, because they didn't think he was much good at much else.
When David arrived with the lunch for his brothers, he saw a huge man making fun of them and their friends. His name was Goliath, and he was not a very nice man.
David's brothers were ever so scared because Goliath was taller and stronger and tougher and more mean-looking than everybody. David still had his world's greatest shepherd hat on his head, which he'd won for saving his sheep from a lion that wanted to gobble them all up for its tea. So David rolled up his sleeves, straightened his hat, and went out to have a talk with Goliath. A story we'll tell you another time. And everybody was amazed, including David's brothers, who were still wondering how their baby brother had managed to do something so amazing when they didn't think he could even make their sandwiches right. How hard really was it to put mayonnaise on the bread?
Maybe he was a bit more special than we thought. Including P. John, the man who formerly wore the t-shirt with the world's greatest warrior on it. Suddenly the t-shirt that he'd made for himself actually didn't fit very well anymore. So much so, he gave David his t-shirt. David had become his hero, and the two quickly became best buddies.
In the shadows, King Saul, P. John's dad, became a little upset at how well David and P. John got on, because it meant Shepherd Boy, as King Saul liked to call him, was becoming rather too popular with everybody in the palace. This made King Saul really sad, and so he made a plan to make David look really silly, so all of his servants and friends would like him best again.
But David's mate, P. John, didn't think it was very nice to make fun of other people. He knew it was better to be kind to people, and made sure people knew that David was still his best buddy. So everyone play nice.
King Saul started inviting David in to play some games, including dodgeball. But David always ended up being the target. No matter how hard he tried, David started to wonder if the king really liked him at all, because one of King Saul's favourite games was playing Nerf gun fights, with David always holding the target for King Saul and his friends.
P. John decided it was time for a cup of tea with his dad and his best friend. P. John really wanted his dad to get on with his best friend. Who couldn't believe that David was an awesome mate, especially with his World's Greatest Warrior t-shirt and his World's Greatest Shepherd hat on his head?
That was a great friendship story there, Jonathan and David. And even they had a cup of tea between them, which was important. I love that. They wanted to be together. They wanted to spend time together. They wanted to do things together. And they wanted to help each other and make sure that they were both safe. So it's a really nice story there of friendship. Now it's time for song time. So I think you need to get yourself ready, find a space so that you can do these actions. Enjoy.
Jesus' love is very wonderful. Jesus' love is very wonderful. Jesus' love is very wonderful. Oh, a wonderful love. Jesus' love. Jesus' love is very wonderful. Jesus' love is very wonderful. Jesus' love is very wonderful. Oh, wonderful love. So high, can't get over it. So low, can't get under it. So wide, can't get round it. Oh, wonderful love. Jesus' love is very wonderful. Jesus' love is very wonderful. Jesus' love is very wonderful. Oh, a wonderful love. So high, you can't get over it. So low, you can't get under it. So wide, you can't get round it. Oh, a wonderful love. So high, you can't get over it. So low, you can't get under it. So wide, you can't get round it. Oh, wonderful love. Jesus' love. Jesus' love is very wonderful. Jesus' love is very wonderful. Jesus' love is very wonderful. Oh, a wonderful love. Jesus' love. Jesus' love is very wonderful. Jesus' love is very wonderful. Jesus' love is oh wonderful. Oh, wonderful love. From the smallest to the biggest, I got cares. From the closest to the furthest, he is there. And we are sad or happy, fearful or afraid, God is there right by our side. Because Jesus loves you when you're strong. Because Jesus loves you when you're weak. Because Jesus loves you when you're old. Because Jesus loves you when you're young, old, strong, weak, or rich, or if you're poor. When God made stars, the sun, the moon, the universe, He already had you in His thoughts. Well, of course, He loves us and He wants us to know one thing well, but He's loved us from the dawn of time. Because Jesus loves you when you're strong. Because Jesus loves you when you're weak. Because Jesus loves you when you're old. Because Jesus loves you when you're young, old, strong, weak, rich, or if you're poor. In good times and bad times, He wants us to honor Him with our prayers. He loves us to reach out up to Him so He can show how much He cares. Because Jesus loves you when you're strong. Because Jesus loves you when you're weak. Because Jesus loves you when you're old. because Jesus loves you when you're young, old, strong, weak, or rich, or if you're poor. From the smallest to the biggest, I got cares. From the closest to the furthest, He is there. We are sad or happy, fearful or afraid. God is there right by our side. God is there right by our side. God is there right by our side. God is there right by our side.
God is there right by our side. Love that. Some great actions. Thank you to Andy for that song. He wrote that song especially. I think maybe sometimes some of the actions are a bit more complicated, so we might do that one and make it more simple. But I just love that one. By your side. I can get that one. Brilliant. We've now got time for art time. So in this art time, we're going to make a friendship bracelet. It's a very simple one that many of you little ones can do. So watch this. We're going to make a simple friendship bracelet. We've got a couple here that we've just stuck some hearts and some bits of paper onto a piece of paper, and as you can see, I've got some on my arm. Peter, we just need a piece of paper, don't we? Peter's here to help me this today. Piece of paper or a card, any colour, scissors, glue if you want to stick things on your bracelet, and some sellotape to hold the bracelet onto your arm. We also have a piece of card to go under the piece of paper so that you don't mark the table. So off you go then, Peter. You cut a strip. Now, it doesn't matter what size strip. I've gone slightly thicker on this one, as you can see. But we go for about 3 centimetres wide. But you could go thinner, you could go thicker. It's totally up to you. And you need that card, don't you, Peter? There you go. Pop that underneath. Don't need the scissors anymore, but you will need the sellotape. And Peter's going to decorate that. Now I've decorated this with just some felt tip pen and just done some blobs and colouring in. You can colour in with as much as you want, and we've got stickers as well if you've got stickers at home. This one I was inspired by the cloud craft we did, so I've done the rainbow on this one, and I've used pencil. Peter's using some felt tip pen there to make some nice colourful lines. That's brilliant, and that's why we have this card, don't we? Because you've gone over that, so that's brilliant. So that saved our table. As Peter carries on with that, so are you happy with that, Peter?
Yeah.
So what you're going to do next is put it on your arm to make sure it's the right size, and what it needs to be is small enough so it stays on your arm, but also so you can just get it off nice and easily if you need to take it off. And Peter's there just making sure it fits on his arm. You can measure it beforehand, but it's quite easy to just do it once you've done your pattern. And then you're just going to pop some sellotape on there. That's brilliant. So it's, as I say, it's really simple, super simple and super fun to make. And it's so much so that we made quite a few earlier. Here's one. We just wrote "Be a Friend" on a yellow piece of paper, used a bit of stickers and some colouring. I found some, there's one, another one. I found some stars to stick on. Peter made a thick one. What does that say, Peter?
We need a good friend.
Fantastic. And I put best friend on one of mine. Peter had another one there with lots of little happy smiley faces. And there's one there. So we did quite a few. Oh, and I got another one. So there we go. That's how you make a simple friendship bracelet. Enjoy. Oh, well, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you will get a chance to make a friendship bracelet yourself. I'm wearing this one which says be a friend. So the idea is that you wear this bracelet to remind you to be a good friend, just like in the story. Jonathan was a good friend with David, and David was a good friend with Jonathan. And obviously in our story, my best friend Bob and Brian were really good friends, and they looked after each other, so that's great. And if you would like to make the other bracelet, if you can see this one with wool, then there's a link at the end of this show, and you'll be able to do that. I've got one started, another one here, and you basically make a little loom and you thread all the wool through, and you might be able to see it starting to form. So that's what it will be like. So I hope you will get time to make your own. Brilliant. So we've got something else exciting happening. I mean, even more, not more exciting, perhaps just as exciting as Little Blessings. Something called Something for Sunday.
We wanted to invite you to BerryBunch Something for Sunday.
We'll have
Drama,
object lessons,
worship,
prayer.
and family-friendly teaching for the whole family.
It doesn't matter how old or young you are.
There's something for the whole family.
And you can enjoy it as a whole family.
Through lockdown and beyond.
From the comfort of your own home.
At a time most suitable for you.
It'll be available as early as you're awake on Sundays via our Facebook page and our YouTube channel.
Looking forward to seeing you soon.
There you go, Something for Sunday. Hope you can join us there as well. So we've come to the end of Little Blessings Online. We'd love to see photographs of the kind of maybe some of these crafts that you're making. See what drinks you have, or show us what mug you've got. And or if you're doing those actions as well, any videos or pictures, we'd love to see them. Just send them to us and we'll email them, and we'll know that we can share them with others. That will be fantastic. We hope you've enjoyed the episode. It's time to say goodbye to Andy as well. Goodbye, Andy. You made a bracelet as well, didn't you?
Yeah, I got mine.
Look, yeah, and he
I made mine.
Yeah, fantastic. And he really enjoyed doing that. So just goes to show that it's kind of a thing that the whole family can make. So I hope you do get a chance to make that. We're back next week. There is a link to Skit Guys that do the story of Jonathan and David as well, so you might enjoy that. But see you next week.
So last week in Little Blessings Online, I told you about my favourite truck, which is this one here. My favourite toy at the moment. It's got doors and it can steer, which is really cool. So you can get it into place. And the really, really cool funky thing about this is it also came with a forklift truck. We go to the other camera, Nathan. You can see my forklift truck coming in. Look, there he is. Getting ready, look. And he can lift himself up in the air. Swap cameras again. Okay, so there he is. Okay, the truck, because I've done this, would manoeuvre into place. The forklift person would drop down onto the container, lock it on, and then lift it up like this. Alright, and the truck would drive away because he's done his bit, and the forklift driver then drop it down whatever he wants to. And this you can extend, which is quite cool. Okay, we'll unlock that. That then goes back in the air. We can shrink this down, and that's it. There's my favourite truck. Good to go. Stay up to date with the BerryBunch. You can follow us online, www.berrybunch.family. We're on facebook.com/BerryBunchFamily. You can also find us on Instagram and YouTube as well.